Good Monday morning. Well, this coming Sunday is Mother's Day. So before you get upset and think, I'm not a mother, having a child is my greatest desire, and I don't have it, before you go there, as I know that word does to many people, let's stop and let's listen, okay? If you know me, you know that not having children of my own has been one of my greatest heartbreaks. So I'm very sensitive to people at Mother's Day. And I love to try to offer a different perspective in light of this day, which I believe is a encouraging and scriptural perspective. But this week I was reading in 1st and 2nd Timothy, and I was struck by Paul's words. I've read it before, but it just struck me different, maybe because we're so close to Mother's Day. And I wanted to share it with you and just a few thoughts to encourage you, no matter what station of motherhood you're in, because I say this all the time, we are all mothers to someone. Whether we've ever born a child from our physical body or not, we are all mothers to someone. And we are being perpetually given the opportunity to parent and to love and nurture. But there's this passage in 1 Timothy, 2 Timothy, 1 through 5. I've got it right here, so I'm going to read it. Paul's talking to Timothy, who's like his young mentor. Like, I almost feel like he's like his little brother or something. He's his mentor. And he said, I'm reminded of your authentic faith. So he's calling out this authentic faith in Timothy. And listen to this. He says, which first lived in your grandmother Lois. I love that he names them. And these are like such southern names. It's like they must have been like from southern Jerusalem or Samaria or Capernaum or wherever they were. I don't even know where they were. Which first lived in your grandmother Lois and in your mother Eunice. Oh, aren't those great names? He said, I'm sure that this faith is also inside of you. I think what Paul was putting his finger on was, number one, the most valuable thing you can ever have in this life, any of us, is a faith in Jesus Christ. And then he was acknowledging for Timothy where that faith came from. Timothy, this is generational. It came from your mom, and it came for her from your grandmother. And what a beautiful inheritance you have. What a deep, authentic faith you have because your mom realized the importance of putting it in you. Isaiah 54 says, sing, O barren, you who have not borne, for more are the children of the barren woman than she who has borne many children. So even there, God, through the prophet Isaiah, is making it clear that there is a substantial inheritance for a substantial opportunity to mother, even if you've never had children born from your own womb. And so the question is are we so focused on what we don't have, that we don't have natural children, that we're not focusing on what we do have? Now I'm going to go a step farther. What if we have children and our relationship with them is strained or it's severed, and we live so much in grief of that we don't focus on the spiritual children that God could be bringing to us? You remember at the cross when Jesus looked down at his mother? And he was about to die, and he said, Mother, behold your son. Son, behold your mother. He was talking to John, the one who describes himself so often as the disciple whom Jesus loved. And basically he was saying, dude, my mom's now becoming your mother. Mom, he's now going to become your son, and he's going to take care of you. John didn't come from her womb, but God birthed him in her heart. So what greater legacy could we leave as women who have been given this beautiful gift to nurture and love and deposit than to do it to all the young people, the younger families, the younger mothers that we encounter, and give them a spiritual inheritance from the Lord basically, women, we all mother someone. If we don't, we all have the opportunity to mother someone. So it's really important that we don't get lost in what we lack and keeping our eyes, as I talked about a couple of weeks ago, focused on the weeds, but we're realizing that God works from a much larger story. And He can allow us to use the giftings in our own lives to love those who may not have a love relationship even from their own earthly biological parents. But for you biological parents, it's important for you to realize that the greatest thing you will ever give your children is not resources financially. It's not a name for themselves. It's not even a great job. All of these are wonderful things, but they shouldn't be the main thing. The main thing needs to be the main thing. The greatest thing we can ever give the next generation is a faith in a living God. And Lois and Eunice have figured that out. So on this Mother's Day, let's not get our eyes on maybe what we lack, and let's not get our eyes on the things that the world counts as important. But let's keep our eyes focused on the fact that being a mother is a gift from the Lord, and it is given to all of us in some measure. So who are we parenting? Who are we mothering? Who are we shepherding? And now let's realize that the greatest gift we can ever give them is a generational faith in Jesus Christ. So let's live that way. Let's talk that way. Let's love that way. And let's be very aware of the children that God has brought into our path, whether they came from our natural body, whether we adopted them, we're fostering them, they're a kid in the neighborhood that just needs to be loved by us. Whatever it is, we all women are mothers to someone because God put that nurturing, mothering love in us. So let's deposit a faith in them that, like Timothy, can be talked about for generations to come. To me, in my own life, even though I never had children from my natural body, that is the greatest gift of mothering that God has ever given me. And I think it's a gift